Hi guys, this is Sai Kumar Kurtiwada. In this video, we will learn about unit testing on sibling communication of a components. I have explained about sibling communications in my last video in our Angular tutorial. I'll provide the link in the description for better understanding. Let me go into the Visual Studio Code. Here, for the first time in my series, I am testing on standalone components. Here, if you see my main.ts, I have configured completely the Bootstrap application, which is a standalone application. And if you see, all the configurations are done, and each and every component we are using inside this is a standalone component. So I am doing this whole unit testing on my standalone component, that is nothing but app component. And when I ran this, I got few errors. We'll talk about these errors in few seconds. And let me go into the browser and show you what is the experiment which we did in our Angular tutorial. Let me go here, and here if you see, my profile name is default name. By default we have a name called as default name, and whenever I type something here like Sai Kumar and click on update profile name, so it is getting updated. So this is how we did our application. And if you see, parent component is app component, whereas header component and profile component are the sibling for each other. So now I am passing the data from profile component into header component, that I have explained completely in my sibling communication video. Please watch that for better understanding. Let me quickly go into the Visual Studio Code and configure all the things in my app.component.spec.ts. Inside my spec.ts, now we don't want to have a declaration app component. Why? Because my app component is a standalone component. So a standalone component can be used as a module in imports like app component, and app component is dependent on profile component, which is again a standalone component, and also a header component, which is again a standalone component. So let me trigger this too, and let me save this. Now we got it as successful, and the profile component is using one imports nothing but a forms module. So let me import the forms module and save this. Now everything is passed. Now the first component, it is creating a app component and it is successfully passed, and I don't want to use this as of now. Let me go here and create one fixture, and this fixture is of type component fixture and app component, and let me use let component instance colon, it's an app component. And now let me go in here and use fixture is equal to testbed dot create component of app component. And now let me create the component instance, which is equal to fixture dot component instance. So I have created a fixture and a component instance. Now what I want to do is I'll use a it with a description of passing data from profile component to header component. This is my description, and this will have a callback function. So let me close this and just go here and zoom it a bit. Now this passing should be happened from one component to another component. Before doing this, I just want to update my fixture dot detect changes, and let me await this till my fixture is stable. Until it is stable, I just want to await. And as you know, when stable is a promise based, and hence I can await it. But to use an await keyword, I should use that function as async. And now after the fixture is updated, what I want to do is I want to get the field from your profile component. Let me go into the profile.html and let me create one ID for this input field. Let me add the ID for this input field. Profile input, this is my ID, and now I'll be adding one ID for this button. So update profile btn. So this is my button ID, and let me save this. Now let me go to the spec file and get that particular field. So const profile name element, which is of type HTML input element, which will be getting a value from fixture dot debug element dot native element dot query selector, and this selector should point to an ID, that is hash, and pass the ID as profile input. Copy this and paste here. Now we got that profile name element, and now what I want to do is I want to assign some value for this. Dot value is equal to update or updated profile name. So this is my value. And now I want to dispatch an event on this. Why? Because whenever you dispatch the event, then only your ng module will update. Then only your ng model will update. So for that sake, let me dispatch an event which is taking a new event, which is again an input event. I don't want to go with any other events because I'm giving some values to it and immediately it should reflect. Now I'm giving an event. After this, again, after getting the event, I will dispatch my detect changes and then I'll await for fixture to be stable. Now my fixture is again stable and then I want to click that button. So let me get the button, update button colon HTML button element, which is getting from fixture.debug element.native element dot query selector of what is my query selector. Again, it's an ID and pass this ID to this and give semicolon. Now we can click on this update button. So let me click on this dot click event, and whenever the click happens, it will trigger an event to your app.component.html, and that will trigger this profile name receiver, and my profile name will get update, and this update will go into my header component. So let me go to the spec file, and whenever the user clicks on this, then I'll just update my fixture again, detect changes and await until this fixture is stable. Let me go with fixture dot stable, and then this time the value is passed to my app.component.ts, and already we know that app.component.ts is passing the data to my header component by using an input decorator that is nothing but a profile name. So let me go into the header.html and create one ID for this. ID is equal to profile label, and let me save this and copy this profile label, go to the spec file, and now let me get that element, profile label element, which is of type HTML element or HTML paragraph element, and this we can get it from fixture.debug element.native element.query selector of what is the ID which we have. This is profile label ID, and pass this as hash and give semicolon. Let me scroll up. Now we will be getting the profile label element. Here what I want to do is I just expect my profile label element dot inner HTML should be equal to my value, whatever the value which we have here, that is nothing but my profile name. Copy this and paste here, and also the value which I am passing from my profile page. Copy this and paste here, and then semicolon. So let me explain you each and every statement again. Let me zoom out, and here I am updating the fixture. Here I am getting the profile element, that is an input field, and I'm updating the value by using update profile name. So whenever there is a action on that button, particular update button, then it should update the profile label element which is already in my header component, and this passing is done by app.component.ts. In that sake, I don't need to check anything in my app.component.html. Let me save this, and if you see it has failed something, let me check here. Debug element dot native element dot query selector, the spelling is wrong here, so you can make this as query selector and copy this and paste here and paste here, save. And if you see here, it has been successfully passed. So now our expectation has been reached. The value which we are passing from the profile component is reaching to the header component via app component. And also we can check one more expectation after the click happens, that is nothing but expect of, we have a component instance for that app component, and here I can check the profile name which should be equal to the value which I am passing from my profile component. So that will be equal to my update profile name. Let's check this one also in our expectation. Let me save this, and now you can see this has been passed successfully. And also there is one more thing which we can do here is const, or let me create my spy function here. So const, my spy function is something like let me go to the app.component.ts and profile name receiver, and this is something like a mock, and I just want to create the spy on function for this on my component instance, and this will be taking one method name, and it should be something like and call through. And let me check this. After the user clicks on a particular button, then this mock function should be triggered. So let me expect this. Expect of this mock has to be called to have been called times of one. At least it should call one time. So here the component, that is app components method, is calling once, and app component profile name variable is updated, and also you are updating the header variable. That means on one click these many operations happen behind the scenes, and we are able to test by our unit testing. This is how we can test our sibling communication in our Angular project by using standalone components. There is nothing new here. Only the changes which we did is the way how we import the particular dependencies into our test bed configurations. Only that is the difference which we are seeing between a standalone component and a modular component. So hope this will be giving you a brief understanding on how to test the standalone applications and also standalone components in our Angular application in Angular 15. Hope you like my explanation. If you like my video, like, share, subscribe to my channel for more updates. Signing off. Thank you.